Hello YouTube and welcome to Full Dottle, a channel dedicated to tamping topics such as pipes, tobacco, lore, and more. I am your host, the Bearded Briarman, and without further ado, let's get lit. Welcome back everyone, and on this episode of Full Dottle, we're going to be moving forward in our blending process. This is the FDOB blend number 3. This particular version is going to be version 2. We are making it for JoJo Piper. But first, a little housekeeping. I am smoking my Eric Weaver at SeaSmokePipes. This is a custom built pipe. It is his Rhodesian Night number 3, I believe. Absolutely smokes like a dream. And in it, I've got FDOB blend number 3, version 1. Version 1 wasn't too bad, but it's not where I want to go as far as what I've got in mind for JoJo Piper. I want this to be a more burly forward blend or an American style blend. And what we had was a little bit on the sweet side. The Samson Turkish was a little too forward, making it more, in my opinion, an Oriental forward blend. I don't want that. So we're going to carry forward. This is version 2. We have done a few things. I'll explain it as we begin to blend. And with all of the blending videos, I have the GoPro set up right here. Join me on it now and we will get started, everyone. All right, so last time we left off making a few changes. I think we made 4 changes total. The first, the major change was going to be we took out the Maryland 606 completely. It was washed out in the blend. I wasn't catching enough of it to really make any kind of a difference. It was just a wasted component in this blend, so I took it out completely. We added in some Red Virginia. At first I said that the Red Virginia and the Rustica may conflict with each other. I don't think they're going to. We'll find out. But I think after smoking the blend, the Rustica and the Red Virginia share 2 different varieties of tartness. The Red Virginia has a sweeter, more of a stewed fruit, malted grain type tartness, whereas the Rustica has more of a mineral-based tartness like a cilantro or oregano style tartness. We also increased the dark-fired Kentucky. I simply wasn't getting very much of that dark-fired Kentucky. I wanted it to come through a little more bold than it was. We also increased the Rustica as well as decreased the Samson Turkish Oriental. I decreased the Turkish Oriental by half, and then I took that portion that I decreased it and increased it back into the dark-fired Kentucky and the Rustica. So let's see what we have here. The first component that we're going to add in here are those dark burleys. The dark burley in this blend is going to be 20% or 1.2 grams. This one did not change. Dark burleys will give us that tannic, caustic burley bite. JoJo enjoys that in his blend, so we want that to be one of the prominent features of this blend. It's also going to give us that rich, dark, nutty, woody type flavors. So we want to keep that. We want to keep the burleys the base of this blend. The next one is going to be a white burley. White burleys give us that sweet type flavor. They do carry the nutty and woody flavors that the dark burleys do, but it is much more subdued and it increases that sweetness like a macadamia nut type sweetness. Love white burley. It is my favorite of the burley varietals. We are also putting 20% white burley in this, or 1.2 grams. This also did not change in this blend. The next component is the Red Virginia. This is the one that we're adding in because we took the Maryland out. We're going to start out with 14% Red Virginia ribbon, or 0.84 grams of Red Virginia ribbon. This is fresh Red Virginia ribbon. This is not home stoved. Hopefully it will add in some of that sweeter tartness to it, give us a little bit of those fruity type tartness flavors to complement the Rustica. That's what I'm hoping for, that's what we're going for. The next component is going to be the Dark Fired Kentucky. We increased this one. I think we increased it by about 4%. Now we have 18% Dark Fired Kentucky, or 1.08 grams. Remember, the entirety of this blend, when we're doing a micro blend like this, is going to be 6 grams total. So the Dark Fired Kentucky is 18%, or 1.08 grams. The next component is going to be the Rustica. Rustica, we increased 2%. This is going to give us 12% total, or 0.72 grams of the Rustica. The Rustica gives us those more mineral and earthy type tartness, as well as a very big kick of nicotine. JoJo Piper's a lot like me. He likes his vitamin N. I generally do not smoke Oriental-based tobaccos because I love that nicotine, and Orientals do not have a lot of nicotine. So the Rustica has the highest percentage of nicotine of any of these tobacco varietals. So in the component list, our Rustica is offering the most nicotine. Our next component is going to be the unsweetened Black Cavendish. I kept this the same at 10%, or 0.6 grams. .6 grams of that unsweetened Black Cavendish. The unsweetened Black Cavendish gives us that neutral, boggy, mineral type flavor. It adds just a subtle touch of a sweetness like brown sugar or browned butter. But it also increases the volume of the smoke, produces a very thick, creamy smoke, and helps to disperse the flavors from the blend throughout. And then last we have the Samsun Turkish Oriental, and we dropped it down from 12% to 6%, which gives us 0.36 grams. The Samsun Turkish Oriental is a very small leaf, and it's easily, it's almost like a flake, not as far as a cut, but the leaf itself will almost crumble into a flake. So as always with these micro blends, the first thing that we've got to do before we actually try it and review it, I'm going to steam hydrate this one time. I will let it set and equalize the moisture level within the jar, as well as allow those flavors to marry just a bit. In the comments of the first video, I got a question about where I get the components to do these blending videos. I get all of my components from two places. SeaSmokePipes.com has a huge assortment of blending components. I have a video on choosing a tobacco. I have a video on how to go down on SeaSmokePipes.com and utilize their tobacco finder tool. The next place that I get my tobacco components is from leafonly.com. I will leave a link down in the bucket to both of those places if you want to go and check out their component list. Just keep in mind that with leafonly.com, it is whole leaf tobacco that I have been getting, and so you have to be able to shred it yourself. When you shred it yourself, you're going to need a tobacco shredder, and I purchased mine through Amazon. they had the same that they had on leaf only. It was a bigger ribbon cut and it was cheaper. So I bought the one on Amazon, and I believe on my first blending series, I put a link to the Amazon site where you can buy that shredder if you'd like to. All right, everyone, so that's going to be this blend here. We have 20% dark burleys, 20% white burleys, 14% red Virginia, 18% dark fired Kentucky, 12% rustica. We have 10% unsweetened black Cavendish and 6% Samson Turkish Oriental. All right, everyone, so if you look down in the bucket, I'm going to leave a link to leafonly.com, smokingpipes.com. Those are the two places that I get my tobacco blending components. I will also leave a link to Amazon to get the tobacco shredder if you choose to do that. I don't make any money from it, so this is not a promotion in any way, shape, or form. I don't make any money from this. This is just my hobby. I will also leave a link to my steam hydrating video for any of you that didn't watch that video, or my FDOB blend number 2 version 1 through 3, I believe it was. I'll go ahead and leave a link to the steam rehydration video. That's where I gave an instructional on how I rehydrate my tobacco using steam. Very easy method. It takes 15 minutes. And it works like a charm. The only time I do an extensive steam rehydration is when I do my pressing. I've got a video on that as well. When I do my pressing, I steam hydrate twice, but for these micro blends, I only steam hydrate once. The reason you want to steam hydrate twice for the pressing is because you want it to be hypersaturated so that the leaf can express itself more when it is pressed. And when I mean express, I mean it releases those oils, those natural liquid content that's within the leaf. It helps the cell membranes to break down, dispersing that flavor amongst the cake that you create. It helps it to adhere better, so you want to steam hydrate it twice at least and get that moisture up around 18%, which is pretty high, but that was off of the advice of Jeremy Reeves at Cornell and Dill. Anyway, everybody, give me a little time. Through the magic of television, I will flip around and it'll be time to review this, but I, off camera, will be steam hydrating it and then letting it rest for a few days. That way the moisture level can equalize, as well as the flavors marry just a bit before we review it. Stick around, everyone. All right, everyone, so I have let the blend rest. The moisture level has equalized. Hopefully the flavors have married just a little bit, and we should light up and see what we've got now. So let's get lit. All right, got my notebook here. Let's open it up. The red Virginia's really increased the tartness of it, brought in a lot more of that earthiness and bready type flavor. I like where that is headed. I spoke to JoJo Piper last night, and I said, hey, I'm having an issue with the sweetness. On a scale from 1 to 10, what do you prefer in your blend on sweetness? And he said 8.5 or 9. So he wants a sweeter blend. But this to me it still tastes a little off. I got some gurgle going on. Man, it's a really tasty blend. but I'm catching too much of something here. Not quite sure what it is yet. I really think it's the dark-fired Kentucky. I'm getting a little bit of a kind of a clovey licorice type taste. Give me a second with this and let me think. So, the Rustica is coming through pretty strong. But I think it's pretty much on par. The dark-fired Kentucky, I'm thinking might be a little too high. Actually, as much as I don't want to fidget with the Rustica, I'm thinking it might be too high. I'm just getting a little bit too much of that wild green type flavor. I don't want that in there. I think we are going to decrease the Rustica. Not by much. I think we'll go ahead and take it back down to 10%. I think I'm going to add that 2% because right now we have 12% Rustica. Dropping it down to 10%, we have to put that 2% back somewhere else in order to create an even blend. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take that 2% and I'm going to put it back into the Red Virginia. The dark-fired Kentucky, is a little too high for me. And that Samson Turkish has fallen back enough. I'm going to go ahead and take 2% from the dark-fired Kentucky. And add it into the Samson. And let's see what that gives us. I don't want to mess with the burleys. I think the dark and the white burley, both at 20%, are balanced. But I'm going to increase the Red Virginia to 16%, decrease the dark-fired Kentucky to 16%. That'll equalize our Red Virginia and dark-fired Kentucky. We'll see where that puts us. The Rustica, I'm going to decrease to 10%, and I'm going to increase the Samson to 8%. So not a lot. We are on the home stretch. I think we're doing well. Man, I think it is an awesome blend already. Just needs a little fine tuning. Those Rusticas are a very, very potent blend. Not only in nicotine content, but their flavor profile is so pungent. I mean, it's that wild green type flavor. It's like if you ever have oregano that's fresh versus dried oregano, you know the differences in fresh herbs versus dried herbs. And with the Rustica, it is such a powerful green type flavor that it very quickly can dominate a blend. And I think it's just a little too high. Not much. We're only decreasing it by 2%. So we'll see where that gives, what that puts us at. I think we're on the right track. Heck, version 3 might be it. I think if there are any other adjustments to be made, it's going to be in the dark-fired Kentucky and red Virginias. The dark-fired Kentucky is another one of those. It's like Latakia, not quite as robust, but it's like Latakia in the aspect that when you add it to a blend, it can begin to demand a lot of attention, which is also not a bad thing. But you know, I'm looking for balance to. I'm looking for both balance and complexity. I want this to be a complex blend where every time you smoke it, you're catching several layers of this, and I want it to be balanced in the aspect. I don't want any one component to be competing for space. I want them all to harmonize. So we'll see where that puts us. That's going to do it for this episode of Full Dottle. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and until the next time we see each other, I bid you farewell and happy piping. Bye, everyone. Don't forget to enlist in the Full Dottle platoon. It's easy. Just click the subscribe button. Also, hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as I upload the next episode.